Back in 697 AD, Venice created the role of a doge. I knew I heard of it before. This was a leader that was appointed by the elite, and the regular people didn't have no say-so in nothing. Sound familiar? Now favorite this or jot it down in your memory. The Doge was the one that made important decisions about military, diplomacy, and trade. Somebody say trade war. Now back then in Venice, the only people that could vote were the people who owned land. And a long time in America, the only people that could vote was the people who owned land. So if you didn't have no power and money, you didn't have no say-so. Sound familiar?
But first, Elon Musk yesterday, along with his son Little X, held a press conference in the Oval Office to discuss what Doge is doing. And there was a hot mic that caught some of it. So first is this little gem.
To restore democracy. This may seem like, well,
You heard that too, right? You're not the president, you need to go away.
Campaigning for me in Pennsylvania, and he's a popular guy, and he was very effective, and he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers, and we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon. And then he journeyed to
What that mean?
I didn't mishear him, did I?
Like, is it making people want to go to Yeezy.com and buy something? Like, there's no way. Like, am I wrong? No.
All right, now let's go to the website. All right, and then we go to Yeezy.com. Is it working? Oh, he has a shirt. Unbelievable. That's literally what he has.
So a little while ago, everyone was talking about how the Apple Watch had a bunch of forever chemicals on it that was like exposing people to way higher than normal amounts of PFASs, which are hormone disrupting and all this. But now on Apple's own forum and across Reddit, people are talking about this. They're looking at their wrists where their Apple Watch was. And there's a little spot, or a big spot, right where they have been wearing their smartwatch for all this time. And now Apple, of course, is refuting this, saying, scientists have referred, and there was actually a big thing where Apple had to tone down the frequencies that were coming off of their devices because people were complaining and whatnot, but it's still enough that a lot of people are getting this effect on their wrist. The other thing is there's thousands and thousands of reports now of people having growths inside their brain where they hold their phone to their head. That's why you never want to hold your phone to your head. Always speakerphone or headphones are preferred, not AirPods. And there's also millions of people who report having a rectangular spot on their leg where their phone sits in their pocket from the interference of the frequencies going right into their, absorbing right into their skin.
Bill Gates invested $12 million in this Australian firm called Ruminate. They feed these cows a certain feed, which eliminates their farts.
Oh, less methane gas, right? Yeah.
But this chemical that they feed these cows, it corrodes human eyes, skin, and if you inhale it, it could kill you as a human. They're feeding it to the cows to stop them from farting, to lower climate change. In return, it's going to be absorbed into their milk, which goes into butter, cheese, dairy.
I imagine.
They're really trying to push it into the UK right now.
So ridiculous.
Of all the things to change.
They have to have a meeting where they're just like, what is the most ridiculous thing that we can come up with that we're going to shove down their throats and they're going to think we're ridiculous? We're just spitballing here. Anything. What do you got?
No bad ideas?
No bad ideas.
Cow fights. That's it.
He's on to something.
This really shouldn't be happening. This ancient Egyptian statue moving by itself while sealed inside a glass display case. Museum curators couldn't believe their own eyes, so they set up a camera and recorded for a week. Take a look at the time-lapse footage. The statue rotates a full 360 degrees.
It's just a mystery. We really have genuinely no idea what's going on.
Recent mud floods. And here you got the proofs. You see this? A whole house, just the roof, is left uncovered. In this picture here, where are all the people? Why there's no people here, man? Just buildings. Because they just performed a reset. That's what. Was underground. Half of the building. Why all the half floor first floors? Right here. Because of the mud flood. Civilization's 200 feet below the sea. This is crazy. Underwater lion city of Kiando Lake. China's Atlantis. Ruins of Cleopatra's palace. Alexandria, Egypt. Full pharaoh statue underwater. So some Yu-Gi-Oh type Millennium Stone. Full pyramid. Mayan style pyramid here. That is crazy, bro. insane.
Heard of the alien ruins in China?
No.
This archaeologist from China, his name is Bei Yu, went to this place and was dumbfounded at what he saw. It's right next to these two lakes, and one lake is salt water, one lake fresh water. He said there are no signs of life at all. The sharp mountains are also lifeless, as if they have experienced a massive fire. The scenery here did not originate from Earth, but from another planet in outer space. And then he saw this mountain that was like triangular shaped. Turns out it's man-made. He says it looks like a space station.
What?
And he goes to the cave entrance inside this pyramid. He discovers iron pipes, and they would lead down to the lake. They tested the metal. 8% of the material you cannot find on our periodic table.
Wow.
And they found quicklime, a conductor of energy.
Wow.
So some of these pipes were filled with it, and they would lead down to the lake, producing energy to the pyramid.
Oh my goodness.
Remember the theory we talked about, the pyramids being able to harness and distribute electricity? This thing is set up the exact same way.
Damn, that looked identical, didn't it? Unbelievable. Wow. Those do look similar.
So how do we know the story is even true? Because the information came from journals kept by the Finnish soldiers during the Winter War. So November 30th, 1939 was the beginning of the Winter War, and the local Sami people warned the Soviet soldiers to stay away from Mount Vatvara and the Kibani Mountains. They told them there was bad spirits and demons on those places, such as Otso. I'm sorry, but do you guys remember that scene from Monsters Inc. when Sully pops through the doors and he's in the mountains? Anyway, and Veron Susi, that actually looks like a werewolf and moons. And they didn't necessarily believe in werewolves like we think of from the movies with a man, full moon, but they did believe in shapeshifting. But the Soviets totally dismissed them, thinking the locals were just trying to dissuade them, and they wanted to take the high ground, War 101. This account actually takes place on the Kibani Mountains, not Mount Vatvara. And here's where it gets super interesting. The Finns let them. They literally hid and watched them climb up the Kibani Mountain. Now, the historical accounts say that there was only very specific narrow paths up and down the mountains, so the Finns posted units all around the mountain. I'm sorry, we gotta take a minute to appreciate the Finn soldiers because they were so badass. With their camo, they could hide right down in the snow, and they would put snow in their mouths so that the Soviets couldn't even see their breath. They counted the Soviets going up the mountain. That's how they knew there were 100 of them. So the Finns were posted below for several nights. And then one night, they heard howling and screaming and constant gunfire. Well, the Finns, being separated in units, thought that maybe one of the other units had engaged with the Soviets, but that's not what happened. After 2 nights of screaming, gunfire, grenade blasts, it fell silent. Dawn of the 3rd day, a Finnish patrol went up the mountain and came back with a report. Every single one of them was dead. It was reported that their limbs and heads had been torn off, that limbless torsos were hanging from the trees, some of the bodies had been disemboweled, ammunition casings everywhere. It had appeared as if they were torn apart by a large animal. So had they been attacked by somebody else, where were the other dead bodies? If they were attacked by animals, how come there were no dead animals? 100 armed Soviet soldiers completely annihilated without a trace of any other being. Also during wartime, because of morale, the Finns would have been quick to say this was them that pulled off such a major attack, but no one claimed it. And that's why this is such a big mystery to this day.
Let's take care of our mental and physical health first before we embark upon what is going to be a journey to rebuild these communities back and rebuild them better than they were when we started this fire.
Oh, hold on.
When we started this fire.
Breaking, video shows drone setting Los Angeles on fire. Chaos has taken over Los Angeles, and now a new video is fueling even more controversy. The footage shows a drone flying over the edge of a forested area, releasing a flammable liquid directly onto the vegetation, igniting an uncontrollable inferno. While some have suggested the video might be fake, witnesses at the scene confirmed seeing the drone in action. It moved fast, almost like it knew exactly where to cause the most damage, shared a resident who narrowly escaped.
Get a straight answer out of anybody. I want to get the answers. I'm going to get begin. We want to get.
What research you got for us?
notice of firing over those station groups. You didn't do it.
Newsom's new $9.1 million mansion is quite a sight.
Indeed it is, but is that a blue roof?
I was about to say the same
This humble abode
thing.
almost looks like a container house,
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But is that a blue roof?
fully surrounded by large trees.
I mean, you can't tell me that's not like a shade of blue, right? I mean, really.
This part was an addition. It features a huge wooden deck and a pretty large backyard,
And a blue roof.
a decent-sized swimming pool. I honestly can't believe it costs $9.1 million.
Honestly, it looks a lot more, but that's a blue roof.
That's totally insane. Speaking of which, how does Newsom afford this on a salary of $224,000?
Because it's literally stealing money from the taxpayers and taking some of that money and painting his roof blue.
So I used to work for this company that invented a product that kind of goes over your roof in like a shrink wrap material rather than a blue tarp. So when disasters happen, it's a shrink wrap over your roof. So long story short, they invented the product, had patent, whatever, and had a meeting with FEMA. And so FEMA wanted to put in a order to like collaborate to get an order in. The amount that they wanted every month was insane. Like these things came in rolls, and the rolls were huge. I mean, like bigger than me, like 5 times the size of me. And I think they wanted like 30,000 of them. But these rolls were just a white, like, you know, that's the color was just white. But FEMA was very specific and said that they will place these orders, but they want them a very specific blue. And they sent the owner of the company the exact shade of blue, whatever it was called, the exact shade one, that they must be this shade of blue. So this order and this all went down right after, like immediately after everything happened in Hawaii.
Something will happen to Earth, hopefully not soon, but either natural or man-made, that would cause the end of civilization.
What?
The video is bizarre, some would say outright offensive. A 30-second AI-generated clip shared on President Donald Trump's own social media accounts. It appears to show his vision for the future of the enclave, somehow turned from a war-torn region into a golden paradise. And the music is jarring too. Take a listen.
Donald is coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Fuck Gaza is finally here.
Donald is coming to set you free is one of the lyrics there. You also have an Elon Musk lookalike eating hummus, bearded men in belly dancing uniforms, and of course the Donald himself in the center of it all.
Probably heard that pole shifts happen. That the North Pole isn't always where the North Pole currently is, and that sometimes these things flip. That's always struck me as an extremely dangerous condition. And I always assumed, well, what are the chances you're going to be alive? You know, if you were alive within 500 years of a pole flip, that would be kind of a close call. But what are the chances it's going to happen during your lifetime? Well, we are actually living in a moment where the pole is actively migrating. We are in the midst of what's called a polar excursion. The pole seems to be flipping. And it seems to be flipping at the same time that our electromagnetic field of the Earth is decreasing. Now, that decreasing field means that what's flung off the sun has a bigger impact on Earth than it would ordinarily have. And that pole flip threatens chaos.
Wild claim. Colton Moore arrested. It has begun. What has begun? Do you guys know what has begun?
Well, I met like 5 or 6 different Kanye. Do
you remember when
the
he was
first 4 was the first 4 was awesome. The last 2 was a little bit.
Well, we did a good job with the public school system. We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things. But we send your kids to the public school. We even have you tax yourself from your property so that you never own your property. And so if you don't make your property tax, we're going to take your property. You can bet on that. And we have you put your kid in a 12-year babysitting is about all it does, because you don't learn anything. And then by that time, the kids, they get to be teenagers, and then we give them the music. Not that we really want to call it music, because, oy vey, that's not music.
Right.
But they listen to that, and then they want to do what they want to do, and so we sell them drugs, and we make a lot of money off your children. Your children from cradle to grave. All we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle. Mazel tov.
Andy Greenberg, senior writer at Wired, allowed 2 hackers to remotely control a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee that they say hadn't been altered in any way while driving on a highway in St. Louis.
So first we're going to turn the fan on him. Yeah, let's turn the fan on, see if he even notices. All right, something just turned on, all the fans and AC and stuff. I didn't do that. The air conditioning is blasting, the music is blasting, and I can't see anything because of the windshield wiper fluid.
Hackers Charlie and Chris say they worked for the last year to develop the software to take over the digital systems in the vehicle.
Let's see some class, look at this. So I flip this to L2, and I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that.
Stop to ask yourself why many of these statues from antiquity are missing their hands and feet? I mean, it's not just one, it's many. And if you haven't been down this rabbit hole, I'm about to blow your mind. But let me keep going for just a little bit longer here. Do you think that it is a coincidence that nearly every statue of antiquity is missing their hands? I mean, it's almost as if it were done on purpose. Don't you think? Could it possibly be because we have records that told us that there were giant beings that once existed with 6 fingers and 6 toes?
I used to have a Qigong master. This is what kind of blows my mind about medicine and about ancient stuff. And he'd come in and he could like point at you, right, from this far away, and you'd feel it. But like feel it like to the as palpable as someone pushing you around. It's like, ugh, ugh.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
For our sound recordist, it was also a shocker. Dr. Roger doesn't know what to expect.
One time he was working on me, and he was working on my liver. He said, your liver's blocked. He went to medical school. He could write you a prescription. He could do all that stuff. He was a doctor. And then he saw a Qigong master, this old guy, and people were lining up getting cured, and he thought, that's really interesting.
Chang was known to manipulate bioelectromagnetic energy, or qi, to such a degree that he could light newspaper on fire from a distance and conduct electricity through his body without harm. Take a look.
He then took our newspaper outside and showed us how qi can also be used to set things on fire. When he heard we'd shown this footage in public, he was very upset and refused all our future efforts to contact him again.
The Schumann resonances literally spiked up last night, meaning that we just changed timelines. And as you see, this literally happened everywhere, all throughout the world. And if you don't know what Schumann resonance is, this is what it says. It's a series of electromagnetic frequencies that occur naturally in our Earth hemisphere. And what it shows in the chart is a pattern never seen before. So in the middle of last night, it did this weird pattern that has never in history ever done before. So did you guys experience that?
Google's quantum research team set out to conduct a routine experiment, one that should have followed the well-established rules of quantum mechanics. Using their state-of-the-art quantum processor, they ran high-precision simulations designed to model complex quantum interactions. The goal was simple: observe and refine how quantum systems behave under controlled conditions. But something bizarre happened. Instead of following predictable quantum mechanical behavior, the chip began producing results before the calculations had even started. Data logs showed outputs appearing milliseconds before the computations were initiated, something that should be fundamentally impossible. It was as if the chip had already processed information before being given any instructions. Even stranger, the chip's quantum states refused to collapse the way they were expected to. In quantum mechanics, superposition allows a quantum bit, or qubit, to exist in multiple states at once until it is measured. But in this experiment, certain qubits remained in an indeterminate state far longer than they should have, resisting the natural process of decoherence that typically forces them into a definitive outcome. Then came the most unsettling discovery. When scientists repeated the same calculations under identical conditions, the results weren't always the same. Despite running the same simulations with the same inputs, they observed fluctuations in the final outputs, as if some unknown variable was interfering with the system. This wasn't a simple computational error. There was a pattern to the inconsistencies. Had Google's quantum chip tapped into something beyond our current understanding of physics?
Is from one of the strangest patents in the entire U.S. Patent Office. This is U.S. Patent number 2006-001-4125A1, or the Walking Through Walls Training System. According to the abstract on the patent that you can all go and read yourselves, this invention is a training system which enables a human being to acquire sufficient hyperspace energy in order to pull the body out of the third dimension, so that a person can walk through solid objects such as walls or wooden doors. This patent is very real and was taken incredibly seriously by members of the U.S. military, especially by the U.S. Army's 1st Earth Battalion, a real unit in the Army that based their principles upon the Jedi Order from Star Wars.
My name is Maxwell Sanglan Chikumbuso. God has given me something that is going to change the world.
The world told him it was impossible. Scientists scoffed, corporations dismissed him, and even his own life was threatened. But Maxwell Chikumbutso, a high school dropout from Zimbabwe, refused to be silenced. Let's take a closer look at some of his most remarkable inventions and how they can positively impact the entire continent and the world at large. The wireless self-powered television. Chikumbutso once showcased a television set that does not require external power.
So this is the first television in the world that uses self-power to say. It is all in one. You don't need to put it on electricity or on solar panel or anything. As it is a complete solution. Behind the television, you can see that there is a microsonic energy device, this box. This is the device that is converting radio frequencies into pure energy. As you can see, the power of the cable was supposed to be here. On all traditional televisions, power comes here, but there's no power, as you can see. The television is working as it is. So in layman, I think this television is we can call it a self-powered television.
Next, we have the green power off-grid machine. This is another groundbreaking invention by Maxwell that generates electricity using the same microsonic principle.
What we're looking at is called the green power off-grid machine. It is 0.5 megawatts, and we are relying with the radio frequency. Behind this radio frequency converted into pure energy that is useful.
Now let's talk about the self-sustaining racing motorbike. Alongside the Kayi Scythe, Chikumbutso introduced a high-performance racing motorbike that also runs on microsonic energy. This motorbike does not need fuel or recharging and has been designed for both racing and commercial use. Currently, there is no official price release for the racing bike, but its affordable production cost means it could become widely accessible in Africa and beyond. Now, let's look at the elephant in the room, the self-powered electric car, the Kayi Scythe. The Kayi Scythe, developed in partnership with Chinese automaker Kayi, is a testament to Maxwell's ingenuity. While the specifics of his microsonic energy technology remain undisclosed due to some concerns, the car's potential is undeniable. These cars boast several remarkable features that set them apart from conventional electric vehicles. Perhaps the most revolutionary is its unlimited driving range. Unlike traditional electric cars that rely on charging stations and have limited mileage before needing a recharge, the Kayi Scythe continuously powers itself using Chikumbutso's proprietary microsonic energy technology. This eliminates the range anxiety that plagues many electric vehicle owners and makes long-distance travel a seamless possibility. Adding another layer of practicality, the Kayi Scythe features a home power supply capability. Similar to Tesla's Powerwall technology, the car can act as a backup power source for a household, in the event of a power outage, or even as a regular supplement to a home's energy needs.
Are you aware of the history of research in ayahuasca?
Yeah.
One of the more interesting aspects of it is when scientists first discovered it and discovered its properties and they did experiments on it, they wanted to call one of the ingredients telepathy. But due to the rules of scientific nomenclature, they realized that it had already been named harmine. So this harmine is one of the ingredients. It's in one of the plants that's used to make this brew. But when the scientists explored this and started experimenting with it, it's somewhere in the early 20th century, they realized that they could read each other's minds and that they were communicating and that they were having a shared experience that seemed to be completely mental but independently, they all verify the exact same thing. And so that's why they wanted to name it telepathy, which is a way more fun word than harmony.
Way more fun.
Yeah. But this idea that we need something to access this dormant part of what is human consciousness.
This shit crazy, fool. Watch it.
I'm dabbing it
Look
up.
at this shit, y'all.
Okay, but it does have... Oh my god, I'm sorry.
What?
She goes. She goes.
Did you know that when you swallow sugar, they have known for 70 years that it goes inside your bone marrow and it suppresses within 45 minutes your body's ability to produce white blood cells that fight infections like bacteria, yeast, viruses, funguses, and parasites? Did you know that it literally shuts off your immune system and makes you more susceptible to all viruses, all infections? And did you know that they compared sugar to prednisone? Prednisone is a steroid. And do you know that its job is to suppress your immune system? In fact, it's called an immune system suppressant. Did you know that sugar suppresses your immune system more than prednisone does?
Oh my gosh, it is blatantly obvious. That is intense. I should really look up the zip code and see if there was rain, but my gosh, look at that. That's so crazy. And I see a lot of systems pass over towers, and the next-rad towers don't go that crazy. That's intense. For instance, check out this other region over here. Got a lot of moisture heading this way. Do you see the towers freaking out the way the other ones did? Now, the towers are beaming. They're tracking. But there's a difference, right? Between what the towers are doing over here and what the towers are doing over here. Oh my gosh.
Did you see the video of Elon Musk's kid? No. His kid accidentally said his plan, Elon Musk's plan, out loud into the mic.
No way.
And it's crazy.
What did he say?
I forgot if he was on an interview or even just something for TV. Elon Musk put his kid up and he's like, oh, this is my mini-me. So this is low-key his plan. Listen.
Catch that.
I guess so.
Look.
Mini-me here. Certainly.
Elon Musk's son just leaked SpaceX motto. Listen.
You have the general vibe.
Yeah, we're in SpaceX and finally just do whatever we want.
Well, what does that mean though? So they want to implement like space tax because that's not even a thing yet. And then slowly do anything they want. Why was the kid saying that? How does he learn that? How did he learn that shit? First off, what is he playing? What is he watching, bro?
Shadows always run parallel and never intersect. Here's a picture which the federal government claims was taken on the moon. The astronaut shadow runs at 12 o'clock, and this rock, only about 5 feet away, the shadow runs at 9 o'clock. This is a 90-degree difference from objects 5 feet apart from one another. This proves that this was taken on Earth with an electrical light inside of a television studio. This is all the proof that you need that the moon landings were fake.
I want to give you a sneak preview of my buddy's research with magnetic fields. His name's Nigel, and he researches magnets and how they interact with light. Okay, so the general narrative is we have gravitational lensing and things like that. He can recreate a lot that we see in the cosmos and create these awesome toroidal field patterns, bending light and laser light, squiggling light and bending light and even spiraling light. Now, doesn't that kind of look like Saturn's rings a little bit? You know, he's almost recreating what we see and what modern science says is gravitational lensing. Look, is that a galaxy, or is that? He says that white spot up there at the top was as hot as the sun. It was melting his equipment, and it's incredible what magnets and electromagnetism can do. Now, this photo in particular, I was very interested in because you've got this toroidal field with a laser light bending into it, and how it looks a lot like the black hole that modern science gave us. It was, of course, enhanced for our viewing pleasures, but they say that gravitational lensing is taking place around the event horizon, and light is bending and warping into that gravitational field, right? And not even light can escape it, right? They call this gravitational lensing, and it's done around different celestial bodies as well. But could it simply be electromagnetism? This is spiraling laser light here that we're talking about. An ionic phenomenon are taking place as he's doing this research. But he said that white light there at the top was so hot it was burning and melting his equipment. There was a light at the end of the tunnel. I want him to explain this photograph, because by the way it sounded, this was like almost an optical phenomenon, like this illusion almost of this infinite tunnel.
Let's go deeper. What is there at the center of the flat Earth? Does magnetic black rock affect winds at the center of flat Earth?
Mount Zion. So they have told us that there is no land at the North Pole, except all the early NASA satellite footage has these black holes at the center where something is being hidden.
And did you hear what he said? He said the Russian Space Center, or the Space Center, was originally built to keep tabs over this pole.
More or less what this planet looks like and what all the planets look like. And unfortunately, you know, this talk is coming to a close. There's just not enough time. Man, just pull this out of his hat here. I've got this in a smaller version, but this is a NASA photograph. I think this was back in the 70s, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Then what is it? What is this giant black hole in the middle?
This hollow Earth and inner Earth topic is starting to gain momentum. It's not just a whisper anymore, but a reality. The hole that Admiral Byrd flew into over the North Pole. This is it. It's quickly becoming a thing. It's real. And the Russians' release of the Mir space station and the footage that it gathered, it's mind-blowing. In addition to this footage, Russia even stated the sole purpose of the Mir space station was to monitor the hole over the North Pole. And the pictures on top are from a 1903 expedition into the hollow Earth from the photographer that went and never came back.
Something extremely weird is going on right now with the Pope. So apparently they have a tape recording of Pope Francis's voice, and it's very eerie. Really sound like a ghost, especially at the end. But finally, there's many people speculating that he's already passed away. And then, of course, he was just opening these doors. Literally opens the door a few months later on his deathbed. And of course, his facial expression while opening the doors. And one of the door openers did not even have ears, y'all. If you know, we've seen these earless folks around. And for some reason, the 1,000-year-old book in the Vatican has a link to his illness. Even further, Nostradamus talked about this exact situation. And some people correlate the prophecy of the popes to Pope Francis. What I do know is there's something weird afoot right here, and also why a voice recording.
We got a pope that brought a South American idol into the church to worship.
Really?
He did. The Pachamama.
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like a South American god, Pachamama.
Why would he do that?
Good question, but he did.
Did he have an explanation for why he did it?
Yeah, it's kind of a weasel-worded thing of like, oh, all religions are just as good as one another. But, if that's his contention...
He shouldn't be the Pope.
No. I mean,
how can you be the Pope if you say all religions are just as good?
Yeah, we all worship,
So he brought that in.
Yeah, into the Vatican. Then the hierarchy even worshipped, they had a ceremony around it outside.
What?
So, well, that constitutes apostasy.
Yeah.
That's an apostasy move, all right?
Worshipping false gods.
Yeah, that's number one on the Mosaic hit list. You know? Moses goes up on the mountain, he comes back down, people are worshiping a golden calf.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. And the very nature of apostasy means that you have to be part of it to fall away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an inside job.
What do Pope Francis and the Giant of Atacama have in common? Well, in the year 2022, when Pope Francis went to Chile, on one of the robes that he wore while visiting, he had a symbol of the Giant of Atacama. The Giant of Atacama is a large geoglyph in the Atacama Desert in Chile. It's almost 400 feet long, and it's the largest prehistoric geoglyph. But it's also thought to be a deity that the people in the region at one point worship. So it really makes you wonder, why would Pope Francis put this false god, this symbol, on his robe? It seems like a pretty strange occurrence. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do Pope Francis and the Giant of Atacama have in common?
We are in control because basically we are not a political organization, we are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind. And we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. And what we're waging is a cultural war right now on every front, in music, in literature, utilizing the media against itself. And we're using music because that's the instrument that young people respond to right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf in man. Politics is merely the puppet show of human beings, and we transcend that, but we are interested in the control of human beings for our own purposes. We have no concern for the homeless, particularly. We don't have any concern in helping people.
We have very little time.
I gotcha.
And because it doesn't look different, the streets don't look that different.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's coming.
Though I believe, because they do plan on doing it this year, and I'll play a video here in a second to confirm that, I do believe that they are trying to detour people, especially the Muslims, away from paying attention to what is actually going on.
My sources are tight. They're with the people that are there. There are absolutely 2 qualified red heifers still in existence, and they're still looking to do a ceremony this year.
There have been only 9 red heifers. So with the 3rd temple that is about to be built, the heifer that will be sacrificed will be the 10th red heifer. And then if you scroll down, it says the 10th red heifer will be prepared by the Messiah. Now again, remember, the tribulation is God returning his focus to Israel because they do not recognize Jesus as the Messiah. Unfortunately, even though he truly is, they do not recognize him as such. And so they are waiting for their Messiah, and their Messiah, they will think it's the Antichrist. So the 10th red heifer will be prepared by their Messiah, who is the Antichrist.
Here's another conspiracy theory. You've seen all the grainy footage of nuclear test blasts that you've
Sure.
with the mushroom clouds, and there are always these grainy things, and there's all these like little houses lined up and these little trees lined up, and it blows everything down. Yeah. Okay. So here's the question, right? So what happened? Okay. So this is great. Okay, you'll love this. So what happened to the camera?
You son of a bitch.
How is that happening yet the camera is like totally stable and fine?
Oh my god!
And by the way, in the film is fine. The radiation didn't cause any damage to the film.
Oh my god!
By the way, okay, we'll do this one. We'll do the loop one more time here. Let's see the car.
The car's right behind the house. It just showed up.
Oh,
okay.
It just showed up.
So wait a minute. First of all,
wasn't there.
First of all, where the car
no
comes
car.
from?
No car.
The second is, does it really look like
car?
Does that look like a real car?
That's insane.
Is that a house or is that like is that a 12-inch scale model?
What?
Right.
That does look fake.
There's also the camera didn't move at all either.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the smoke is too big. Watch when it hits. Like the volume, like the size of it. It looks small.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks like we're looking at something that's like a few inches tall.
If you watch like making of Star Wars, any movies before CGI, whenever they do anything like that, it's always with these tiny models.
Yes. Yeah, this looks fake as shit.
Let's get another one. It's like, okay, what the camera's fine.
Jeremy and I had a private conversation out in a remote area of my property. Cell phones in our pockets, but turned off.
All filmed.
He left the following morning, and simultaneously there was an FBI raid. They came with more people than you could really think would even fit in our building. I mean, agency after agency, computer experts pulling information off the computers. And
what do you think they were there for?
They're looking for some of the fuel from the craft that might have been stolen.
Element 115 was always something Bob said fueled the craft, a stable version. And to be direct, which Bob is being direct right now, they were looking to see if he had any of that taken out of Los Alamos where they machined it, which he did say back in 1989 or so that he did get some out to do tests on. They were able to repeat back verbatim a portion of the conversation that we thought was private, and that shocked us because we were joking that nobody even cared 30 years later what he says. We just know now that our conversations are not private.
These are the Barabar Caves. There's 5 of them. Carved into solid granite, the polish is so smooth, it's smoother than machine-polished marble and slightly less than industrial glass, and 20 times smoother than industrial granite. Professional stonemasons were interviewed about recreating this project and how difficult it would be out of 10, and those are their answers. Most said it was impossible. A company called AGP, started by a former stonemason, scanned him with one of these. It's a spinning laser that creates millions of data points that can reconstruct the caves from the inside out with no distortion. Here are the results. The caves have perfect symmetry in the floor, ceiling, and walls. The walls are angled by just a few degrees. Why? Polishing with the aid of gravity is more than doable. That's what we do. Polishing a vertical wall and a curved ceiling, on the other hand, is... The walls have a perfect angle within 0.1 degrees. You can't even tell with your eyes. Why was this necessary? The acoustics of these caves are also ridiculous. Granite barely absorbs acoustic waves, and the dome at Sudama resonates at 74.9 Hz. This renders speech unintelligible in the chamber. Reverb is the time it takes a sound to decay into nothing. 60 seconds is the max my production software will go. Inside Notre Dame, it'll reverb for about 10 seconds. Sudama 62. Vapika is 70. When they were studying the acoustics, they discovered that the angled walls reduced the floating echo. The caves were rediscovered in 1785 by the colonizer dudes. No function of the caves has ever been discovered. The historical foundation is based on this crude hack job into the perfect walls. It says the absolutely perfect caves were used as a rain shelter. We can all agree that there was a lot of highly trained craftsmen that were needed to complete this. Yet we see nothing that's precise anywhere else in India. How were they trained? How did they carve it with no electricity? Torches would suffocate workers if they didn't get silicosis. That's an incurable disease from inhaling rocks. Didn't seem like a concern. The only things we can compare it to are Nakshi Rostam, the Lycian rock tombs, Petra, and maybe a couple other sites, like Kailasa. Kailasa was carved out of a single rock in traditional Indian style, decorated head to toe. This has no decoration and emphasizes the precision. The Rig Veda puts a heavy emphasis on sound. So what were they used for? The clues are in geometry.
This is the Enough is Enough card from the Illuminati card game made in 1994. There's like 200 some odd of these cards, right? You can buy this right now on eBay. Right now. It's very expensive, but you can do it. This card right here has this face on it, right? And who does that remind you of? Who does that remind you of? Let's see what this card does. What is this? At any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. Yeah, it says that. Play this card on your own turn before drawing any plots, meaning, plots being Illuminati fuckery. This whole game is full of fuckery that they do, like pandemics and everything else. You may remove all zap, paralysis, or attribute freeze cards that are affecting your power structure. Cleaning house. However preoccupied with your house cleaning, you may draw no plots this turn. It means no Illuminati fuckery can be done right now because we're giving people the illusion that the Savior has come. That's essentially what this card is. And by deduction here, it appears that is the most powerful card in the deck because it freezes all other cards. It makes them all null and void at this time. And if you know cards... The most powerful card that defeats all other cards in the deck is called a trump card. Is this a coincidence? No, it's not. For entertainment purposes only. This is why I've never trusted this system. I never trusted him. As much as I like Doge, I like all this shit. I love how funny Donald Trump is, and he's a go-getting ball buster. But man, I had a feeling this was a fourth dimensional player in this game, and enough is enough. We are literally playing this card right now for entertainment purposes only.